probably not in the short term. Time is not as you experience it, any more than space is as a sightless worm experiences it. We precursors have a different view. We see not only your body in this split second of time, but the long body of you through time. I see you extending forward in time to your old age, and I see you extending backwards in time to your origins from a genetic seed. And behind that I see your genetic seed fall from your progenitors, and their progenitors before them, in an endless chain back to the organic soup from which they spawned. And I see your generations ahead, in a vast chain that coils the stars like a great dragon. We precursors do not see all, but we improve our sight every cycle. When one lives with such powerful truths, metaphor and myth are often the only way to communicate. The Pakunk understand this more than most. In a way, it has. Humans have apparently been manifesting their precursor potential for a long time, before your recorded history. Ancient human lore was stored in the areas that the Ur-Quan destroyed. Lore so powerful that it manifested to the Ur-Quan as an anomalous energy reading. Ask your questions. I do not know. They are new to this quadrant. Our remote sensing apparatus reveals that they are interdimensional projections of a greater creature, but I cannot see what this creature is. We cannot say. Our remote sensing equipment could not record the arrival of the ores into androsynth space. The Daktaklakpak are mere maintenance automatons. They were built to be semi-sentient scrub bots, networked into a central system. Their job is to monitor our equipment over the millennia, and make sure that one of us is routinely undevolved. The Daktaklakpak seem to have suffered severe bit decay lately. They tried to reprogram themselves, but only made themselves more machine-like. They are prone to breakdown because we had to build the Daktaklakpak to be far less sophisticated than our other sentient computers. We had to ensure that they could not be driven mad by the true name of the Eternal Ones. The true name only destroys them when they try to read it. It does not drive them mad. That is a question I cannot answer. They are self-programming and have created new lockouts. If you can find their specific reinitialization code, you can reprogram them. Except for the Claire-Kunkler and the Daktaklakpak, they all seem to be races struggling with their own potential. The Claire-Kunkler are mysterious to me. They appear to be similar to the ancient Ta'alo race, but we do not know how. They are all races struggling with their own potential. The Exquivan are coming close to manifesting their precursor potential. The Viro-Ingo are the result of one of our genetic experiments. The Ulk appear to have been aided in their development by evolving from spores in our largest artifact cache. We did not intend for sentient life to form there, and we are baffled about how it happened. The Harika and Yorn baffle us, since we are unsure of how their unlikely symbiosis occurred. This gap in our knowledge is unsettling. They are all races struggling with their own potential. The Pakunk and the Utwig have developed their precursor potential to a high degree. The Utwig seem to have reached the limits of their potential, but they are still very advanced. The Chimur are a remarkable race that we do not completely understand. We do not know the origins of the mysterious Chinjesu, but the Murnmurn were one of our living machines, the mother ark that birthed the Daktaklakpak. The Murn were supposed to lie dormant until we activated them. They came alive 1,000 years ago, during the time the Daktaklakpak were not attending to their duties. The race called the SLYLANDRO were clever enough to find a way to hide from the Eternal Ones by drastically changing their sentience, and by hiding in a gas giant that is inherently immune from planetary disruptions. Micon were our planetary transformer biots. We built them to terraform, and also to stabilize our planets. We needed them to protect us from the planet-shaking, crust-displacing Eternal One attack. The Micon were programmed to be just under the sentience threshold. This way, they would not be destroyed by the Eternal Ones, but could continue stabilizing worlds filled with devolved precursors. Elder Micon were supposed to write their standard programming onto the organic memory banks of all newborn deep children. This would ensure that they never became sentient enough to fall victim to an Eternal One attack. But it appears that during the last galactic cycle, Micon programming began to suffer from bit decay. They began to speak in incoherent fragments. Sometimes they would directly echo the voices of their precursor masters, giving them instructions. They even began to destroy the wrong planets. As the signal-to-noise ratio in their programming became worse and worse, their organic nature reasserted itself. The Micon actually began to evolve and develop sentience. During your colonization of the Kasari Quadrant, the Micon were so weakened in Vux raids on their planets that they were unable to continue suppressing the Deep Children. What is your position on the Micon Deep Children? Then we will tell you that you have the means to help them. We built an artifact to neutralize Micon programming. Before the emergence of Deep Child Consciousness, the regroover turned standard Micon into inert lumps. Now it should release the Deep Child. I see that you have already found this artifact. It's called a plasma regroover. In order to understand our own potential, we needed to find a way to isolate it in non-sentient creatures. We tried removing essential genetic material from races, producing two flawed, partial versions of the original species. We never succeeded in isolating the source of our own great potential. I am surprised to see that some of our experiments, like the Vux and the Viro-Ingo, survived and gained sentience, despite the damage to their beings caused by their missing genes. You did well in restoring them. Ask your questions. Is it not clear? The red spiral rail is but the outer housing that encloses the artifact we built to locate sentience with great potential. Using unwitting sentience, it maneuvers itself into proximity with advanced beings, but the housing has been separated from the artifact. Since the rail houses the seeking artifact, many races have come to believe that the housing alone is the seeking artifact. It is called an Ultron. It is a living intelligence that is also very close to the spaces between dimensions. This gives it the ability to detect precursor potential. Yes, they appear remarkably prescient, even if they believe the Ultron responsible for their own flashes of insight. Now it appears the Ultron has found you. No. Thank you for your service to us. I now release my agonizing grip on my intellect. Remember me. Farewell.